I think it's
Okay.
probably to do with the height of your camera.
Actually, it's the chair and the camera, and I'm
Ah,
only 5'5", and I'm sitting in this huge comfy chair that's like,
You're still taller than me because I'm 5'1". Oh,
oh my gosh, I feel like a giant. So today we are chatting with Morena Russell. She's a profit strategist, and we're chatting with her from March 4th, Life's Command to Never Give Up. March 4th offers a membership for new coaches to help you get started successfully with mindset and motivation, marketing, and copywriting. We have Quandra Adams. Quandra is my partner in March 4th. She's amazing. She has awesome energy and an abundance of intelligence in marketing and life in general. And Morena is going to present to us about tracking your money and why you should track it and how you should track it and to start now. So we're going to let her have the show. And if anyone has any questions, just jump in at will.
good. Hello, everyone. So, yeah, so it, well, I'm going to talk about why it's important to track your money and how to do it in a way that doesn't overwhelm you because you have loads to do. You're very busy. It's the main focus of your business. So you want your business finance to be something that gets done, but at the same time doesn't take all of your time. So why is it important to track your money? So there are different reasons for that. So if you are, the CEO of your business, you need to be able to know what's going on. And all the finances are, it's a tool to let you know how your business is performing. So, you need to know the different elements of the financial statement. What's your revenue, what are your expenses, what are your profits, as well as you need to understand what's your, here in the UK we call the balance sheet.
Mm-hmm.
In the US we call the statement of financial position. So this is because it's so important to know where your money is going, what's happened to your money, how you're making the best use of it for your business. So, and it always starts with tracking, and that's why it's so important. A lot of us business owners, we go around and we don't know really how much money we're making, how much money we're spending. Um, like a lot of people that I work with, they use it as a strategy to make as much money as possible with the hope that with that, they're going to be able to cover all the expenses and they're going to be able to be, above the water. But,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just about, of course, revenue is super important. And I see a lot of people obsessed about, making five figures, making six figures. And of course, it's important, if you're not making sales, you don't have a business. But it's not all, it's not just about how much money you make, but it's also how much of it you get to keep. And
Definitely.
yeah, because you keep, there are situations where people do make six figures, but they spend the whole thing. They spend the whole thing in marketing, in courses, and all sorts of things, in mixing their money with the business money, and then not really knowing what's happened. So, this, as I said, as a CEO, you need to know what's happening to your money. You need to understand your financial statements, and you need to be able to have a strategy so you actually make a profit, and you have something to show for your hard work, not just like work, 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 make money, spend it all, and then work, 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 make a lot of money, spend it all. So that's the idea. So, um, so how do you start? So like Jennifer and I was, trying to figure out how to share my screen because I wanted to show you a spreadsheet, which is very simple of how to start tracking your money because it doesn't need to be very complicated. You can either use the spreadsheet or you can use an accounting app And nowadays there are so many options. You have in the US you have Mint, you have Zero, which is like a worldwide. You have QuickBooks. So there are lots of apps that you can use to start tracking your money, and you can use a spreadsheet as well. So the key for you to do that is 3 steps.
Only
Um,
three?
3 steps, yeah.
Okay.
So the first step is to categorize your expenses. So you always, and not just your expenses but yourself. You have to categorize everything. When you categorize, you change from having millions of transactions on your bank account that you can't make sense of, to having actually something that makes sense. And that's why I wanted to show you the spreadsheet, because when you have a spreadsheet, when you list your transactions here and the amounts, and then you list the categories, and then you have one column for each category, it's very easy for you to understand, okay, what went on travel, what went on advertising, what went on support, admin support, etc. And then you start actually making sense of what do you spend your money on, how are you making the best use of the money, and mainly, what is the minimum amount that you need in order to cover your expenses and break even? Because if you don't know that, it's very hard for you to know how much revenue you need to make in order to have in order to reach your goals. Because you're gonna reach your personal goals by having your business making a profit, so that you can get paid. So if you don't know how much your business needs in order to run and to function, you don't know how to plan yourself. You don't know how to project. So that it always starts with categorizing both your expenses and your if you have different programs. For example, if you mainly work with a private coaching, you only have one program, that's fine. But some people, they have they have the one-to-one, they have a group programs, they have online programs. So you need to be able to separate and categorize your revenue. Where what is bringing what, and where are you spending money. So that's where you start.
Okay. So I have a question for you. When you're teaching people to set up their system, do you do any coaching with them as far as their blocks in their thinking financially?
Yes.
Or is it all just system based?
Yeah, like mindset is not my specialty. However, it's very interesting to see how much of peace of mind it gives you to have your finances organized, and to understand really what is triggering the money going out too quickly, or the money going to places that you don't understand. Because when you have this abstract thing that you have no control of, and money comes in, money goes out, and you don't really know what's going on, it causes a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. And by having a system, it does help a lot in terms of your peace of mind and your mindset. So yeah. So the answer is more or less.
So they play nice together.
They play nice together. Yes. The second step is the fact that tracking your figures helps you to understand two things which are really important for you. So one is what I mentioned earlier, which is what is the minimum amount that you need in order to cover all your business expenses, and sometimes, and even like pay yourself a salary, because there is a misunderstanding, especially with coaches and people who work for themselves, And, because a lot of us, when we're starting up, we don't pay ourselves a salary because the business is not generating enough money. So, and then when people start paying themselves a salary, they think, oh, okay, so the business is making money now, it's being profitable. But this is not really true, because your business has to cover all of its expenses, including your salary, and still make a profit on top of that. Because at some point, as your business grows, you're gonna want to not do everything. You're gonna want to have support, and you're gonna want to have your business generating enough to cover all of that. So that's the first thing, that it's important when you track your finances, is to know how much you need in order to break even, and then you can start looking forward and see what is it that you need to make. The second is, once you do this exercise, so this is the first step when I start working with people, it's looking back, as much as possible, to the beginning of the year, but at least 3 months, is to really go through their transactions and categorizing everything, and then understand where their money is going. So where they're spending their money, because only that you can start, projecting. So you can start looking forward and saying, okay, so in the last 3 months, I spent this much on Facebook ads, or I spent this much in BA support. So you have the figures to give you a base for you to be able to look forward.
So the plan really starts with reviewing first. It starts with analysis first.
Exactly. So where's the money going? What is happening? Are you making the best use of it? And that's the base for you to start creating a projection. And then that's how you then start the third step, is actually create your projections. So you're gonna then, now that you have an idea of where you're spending your money, you have an idea of, again, it's very important to link with your goals for your business. So if you know, because not just because you've been doing certain things doesn't mean that you're going to be doing this in the next year. So it could be that you've been doing private coaching for this year, but for the new year you've decided that you're going to also host retreats, for example, in Bali or in somewhere exotic. So you need to be able to know, okay, so that's how much I've been spending in all these different categories. But because I have this new goal, I also need to be able to put some money aside to cover this and this and that. And again, it's a bit abstract to tell you without showing you the spreadsheet. But I hope I make sense. But feel free to ask. And so you need to be able to go and get from your vision, to break down in the goal that you want to do, and then see how much money you need for each of these things, and to support you in your growth, and how your business is gonna, what kind of support you're gonna need, in your business. It could be that that you need a new skill, and let's say that you want to learn about webinars. You want to, become a pro on using webinars to market your new online group program. So you want to go and invest on a mentorship of someone who's really good at it, etc. So you need to have the money on your projections to cover that as well. So that's how you do your projections. So I always recommend to do one projection, which is like, okay, that's what cover the minimum. That's how much revenue I need to do. I need to make in order to cover the minimum and make a certain profit. And then you do an aspirational one. So if I wanted to do, if I could not fail, what would be my projection? How much, I would like to make, and where I would want to invest money to, in and then have this, as inspiration for you to in order to maybe do more than what you expected.
Mm-hmm.
And
And it sounds like this is huge in trying to nail down your pricing.
yes, yes. So it's very
Because
important.
I think a lot of times when you first come into coaching, you feel like pricing is just about a figure in your head. Like, okay, this is just the amount that I have in my head, but you actually put a strategy behind the pricing
Yeah,
that explains on another level of why pricing is what it is.
exactly. And yeah, so you need to have a price that covers covers your expenses and gives you a profit, but at the same time give people more value than what they're paying for. So that's the kind of the balance that you need to get to find this and I think there's a lot of adjustment that needs to be made. You can put your price,
Mm-hmm.
make the offer, see how people react, and if things people are taking well, you can increase it a little bit and go like that.
That makes sense. So, what do you suggest for somebody like me who I don't like the number side, I don't like the business side. I just what are the tools and the assistance for people like me?
Um,
I
oh,
like the money. I just don't like all the technical stuff that goes into it.
well, you have options. So, for example, what I think people so correct me if I'm wrong. So, what you don't like is it like sitting down and doing the admin and processing transactional spreadsheet, or is it that you don't like to look at your figures because you're scared of what you're gonna find, or
Both.
something else? so like funnily enough, so again with the mindset thing, it's very interesting because um so I tell you a story, my personal story with me and my husband. So when we got married, we were very broke because I couldn't work for a while because of my visa, because I'm originally from Brazil. So I hadn't been working for a while. We didn't have any money. We spent money on the wedding. So we were so broke. And then we were like always scared of looking at the finances, thinking that there wouldn't be enough. And like we always stress,
Mhm.
are we gonna be have enough to cover all the expenses this month? And then after a while, we realize that actually we always have enough to cover all the expenses. So a lot of this fear and this anxiety that we're not going to have enough and etc. is more in our heads really. And
Mhm.
if you actually, and again, for personal finance is not my specialty because there are other things that you need to consider. But again, if you do your categories, separate your transactions into the categories, living expenses. There are, I think there are five main ones. And then you say, okay, that's what I need for living expenses. That's what I need for fun. That's what I need for, big expenses during the year. So, for example, your car insurance.
Mhm.
It's something that you may not think about it, and then it comes, and then oh my god, how am I going to pay that? And then if you actually, from the beginning of the year, you already plan for these big expenses and start putting money aside, when it comes, the money is already there. So it's about being ahead, just like and plan, and then
Mhm.
and then you always have enough. because it becomes less abstract.
I
So,
agree. And from a mindset point of view, I used to feel like tracking money came from a poor mindset. I used to feel like, well, if I'm tracking it, that means I'm watching it because I'm scared it's not going to be there.
mhm,
And
mhm.
so it took a huge shift to learn that the tracking actually comes from a wealthy mindset, that it actually comes from a prosperous mindset.
Yeah, it's about I like comparing with time. So if you don't plan how to manage yourself and how you're going to manage your time. Time is going to pass, and you haven't done the important things
That's
that you
right.
wanted to do. And it's the same with money. Money is not going to sit there on your bank account because it's very easy to spend. So you need to plan and to decide in advance how you're going to spend your money. So you're
Mm-hmm.
sure that the money is going to the important things. And that's what yeah. And I think it's a mindset thing as well. Yeah.
So if you have a brand new coach and they're just getting started and they want to know what's the best thing they can do starting out to set up their finances, what do you advise them?
So for a brand new coach, it's about
Because they don't really have a business. They have nothing at this point. They're just starting.
mhm.
So what's the first thing they can do in your mind that's going to set them on a path for success?
So in my mind, it's about having an idea of. So for example, it depends again on the situation. So some people they are, for example, they are stay-at-home mom and they are starting a new career, and anything that they make is a bonus because they don't need the money. So that's very dangerous because again, it doesn't give them, a bar of what they, what they want to achieve, etc. So again, it may take a while for them to get to a mindset of, oh, I can actually do more, I can actually achieve more. Or it could
Mm-hmm.
be that they are starting out as a coach, but they already have a job. So their objective will be to replace, their corporate job in order to become a full-time coach. So,
Mm-hmm.
so for me, it's about deciding what you want to achieve first. So if you don't know what you want to achieve, you're just gonna go around and around in circles, and not knowing really if you are progressing or not. And when I say progressing, doesn't mean results. So it's about tracking your effort as opposed to tracking your results because the results become, you know, anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this was something that confused me a lot um, in the past when I was trying to create my strategies and tracking the things. So, for example, if I'm trying to track how many discovery calls I get, you know, so it's harder to track how many discovery calls I get because this depends on other people, depends on their response and who is gonna take up on the offers, etc. Whereas
Right.
if I track my effort, okay, I'm gonna track what I'm doing to get discovery calls. And as long as I stay on my path and I do what I said I was going to do, that's when the things start happening. So it depends on again on which tactics you're going to use to achieve your goals. So I think I'm going a little bit in circles, but what I'm trying to say is first have a goal. Second, decide how you're going to achieve your goal, and then track what
Mm-hmm.
you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then test different things, and then compare. So, for example, you want to get a certain revenue. For that, you have your pricing that you calculated when you calculated how much money you need to make in order to cover your expenses. So you know how many clients you need in order to reach that target. And then you're going to then track, okay, how am I going to get this discovery call? Is it going to be
Mm-hmm.
um, from outreaching? Is it going to, like contacting people on one-to-one basis? Is it going to be posting on Facebook groups? And then again, I'm going to decide how many times a day or a week I'm going to post. Is it going to be from doing Facebook ads? So you do your tactics, you decide what you're going to do and for how long, and then you track that. And then you compare, if it works or not. Because otherwise it's just kind of doing loads of things, but you don't really know what's working, what's not working.
So you're saying measure your results in different areas and then compile them together.
Measure your effort and then compare your results.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then, so what I was going to say about, so I was talking about creating a projection, and yeah, and I think that's me done.
Well, that was fabulous. Quandra, do you have any questions or anything I didn't think of for?
No questions. While she's talking, I'm just listening. I don't know if you know, probably not, because I think by the time we met, I had rebranded my business and everything, and I'm now doing digital marketing. But I started off as a personal finance coach, so everything she's saying, I'm like, yep. But she's getting it from the perspective of a business, but it certainly overlaps. But the whole time, I'm just sitting here, I'm thinking, a lot of people though don't even know how to manage their own personal finances, so it becomes that much more convoluted and difficult when they get a business off the ground, right? Because now you're dipping in two pots. Your house bills already ain't paid, and you're trying to get a business off the ground, and then the money starts to, we can just go off on the tangent from that point. But I personally think that that's where it's got to start. You gotta have a solid foundation of understanding, personal finances and how to manage your money personally, before you take off on the business side. Otherwise, you're just gonna duplicate the same mess you were doing personally, in the business. Then you're gonna be back where you started. So.
Yeah.
So back to that question about what would you tell a new coach that's just starting out? You would ask them, show me what your personal account looks like first.
I'm not trying to be funny. I would. I'm so serious. I would. Because the thing is, I'm trying my best not to generalize things. I'm learning in that area, guys. Okay, so forgive me. A lot of people start a business purely off emotion, right? You've got to have some type of reasoning and rationale and logic behind everything you do, right? And a lot of times we just hop in. Oh, I got this idea. I want to jump on it. And, then we start siphoning money out of our own personal bank accounts, to fund whatever and scraping money together, which that's, I get it because I've been there, but we got to have a more strategic approach, right? To getting businesses off the ground. And it's got to start with your own personal finances. Napoleon Hill, that's obviously a very popular name. I do a lot of self-help reading. And when I put my personal finance coaching program together, the first thing I did was, and Morena, I'm sure she's probably got something similar to this, or if not, I would love to get together with you and see how you can kind of actually upgrade mine. But the first thing I would do is I sit down with my clients and based off of suggested percentages that one of the books I had read from Napoleon Hill, he literally broke down what, how much your housing should be out your income, how much your food should be out of your income, right? And again, they're just suggested because everybody's lifestyle and situations are different. But my thing is, if you're able to reasonably, to some extent, live off those suggestions, it would change your life, right? And we ain't talking about having to live under the bridge, catch the bus, and eat ramen noodles. I'm serious. The thing is, I can attest to it. At one point, I was saving more than 50% of my income, and I made less than $25,000 a year when I did it. I was putting up over $1,000 a month just saving it. You know what I mean? But like I said, that I was living off those suggested percentages, right? So, but that's what it was. But my whole point is, and I'll shut up, you got to get that house right. Those personal finances right before you get into a business. So
yeah.
No, I agree. And Morena, I loved your story about when you first got married, because that's a conversation me and my husband had. I when you start going through receipts, when I have my purse is half full and I'm like, this is a receipt, this is a receipt, this is a receipt, or this is a shut off notice. And I told him, I said, you know what? We have never been broke. When you look at the shut off notices that have been paid, we've never been broke because they were paid.
Exactly.
We just mismanaged it.
Exactly. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. I used to tell my clients all the time, if you have money for anything extracurricular, you got money to save because you don't have to have those things, right? And a lot of us don't understand the difference between an asset and a liability, right? We just don't. We don't understand the value of prolonging our wants. You know what I mean? We just don't. We're impulsive. We buy things. And a lot of it is, now we're here to take off into the metaphysical side, Jennifer. You already know. But
you go ahead and fly off in that ship.
No, I ain't gonna go there. But a lot of things, of course, is us trying to fill a void or something that we're lacking in a lot of areas when it comes to spending. It could be an emotional one, anything, but.
I agree 100%. The best thing that I ever did to increase my wealth was to become whole. When I really began to see that every marketing scheme out there, or at least every other one, was to sell me something that I already owned.
Come on.
It saved me so much money. It increased like overnight.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And understanding that money is a tool, isn't it? It's not something to give us the emotions that we expecting to get from it. So if we understand that and we detach all this emotion that comes from it, it becomes so much easier. And I think also like and that's why I like as well working more with business finances as opposed to personal finances, because I think with the personal it's even harder to detach. But with the business finances, I think it's easier for you to become a little bit more objective and a little bit more like, okay, so if I'm going to invest on that, what am I going to get in return? So if I need to buy a new computer for my work, do I need to can I buy one which is $500, which is going to do the work, or do I need to buy the $5,000, which looks nicer and it has loads of little, beautiful screen, all the resolution, etc. But it's an add-on. It's not something that you need. So how long is it's gonna take for me to get my investment back from that? So I think with business money, you really need to be like that. For everything that you invest, you need to have what you're gonna get in return. What's in it for me? Yeah,
I agree with that 100%, and it's an internal conversation.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have anything else, I don't want to hold you guys. I know we scheduled for an hour and we're going to stop short. That's fine. I mean, because I feel like you've put so much value into this and the viewers are going to get so much out of it from everybody. But I want to make sure that they know how to get in touch with you and exactly what programs that you offer for the new people starting out.
And can I just say as well that if anyone wants the spreadsheet that I mentioned, to track your expenses and categorize them, I'm in your group, so you can just PM me, or I can put on the group files as well if you can. Okay. And then it's just there for people if they want to start tracking. And in terms of what I offer, I have an online course which is called Master Your Business Money, and it's for people who like DIYing and they just want to learn how to create a system for themselves. And I also offer a program which is a one-to-one program for people who want to do the same thing to create a system, but if they want a more hand-holding approach and they want to do it together and they want to go backwards with me and help them with analyzing and creating their projections and creating their routines. It's all about routine, isn't it? Again, for people who don't really like doing the finances, it's about know exactly what you have to do, separating 1 hour per week, and then you can process everything and it's all done. So you don't need to be like hours figuring out.
Cool.
That's cool.
Cool. Alrighty. I'll go ahead and stop our recording. Quandra, did you have anything to add before we stop the recording?
No. I think she did a an excellent job at explaining, how tracking your money and business and everything. And I'm even glad she mentioned the mental side, or at least she touched on it. You know what I mean? The mental side of money, because that's absolutely important. So no, I think she did a wonderful job. I'm just surprised there aren't more questions. You know what I mean?
Natasha, Julian, I know you guys are still listening in. Before we close out real quick, did either of you have any questions?
What I will say this, and my audio was kind of going in and out, so I'm not sure if she touched on it, if she covered it, but you may have covered it, Morena, when you mentioned projections. So I kind of already know what my answer would be. Again, if I'm talking to somebody on a personal finance level, but I'm just interested in your thoughts about it as well. The number one thing, or I guess I'll say something. I'll ask for your feedback. The number one thing I would always suggest to my personal finance clients that wanted to start a business was to, number one, always have at least 3 to 6 months worth of money in emergency fund. Not emergency fund, 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in a savings account. That's just period. 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. That's not to fund your business with. That's just in case stuff happens, right? So like if you lose your job, or you get sick, or you start your business, but it doesn't start generating income or profit for you, you've got to have something to be able to pay your bills. So I don't know. Do you have some type of something like that, but on the business side of things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when it comes to, go ahead.
Super important. So again, if you are starting out, and you are just about to, if you work in corporate and you're just about to make the jump, it's very important to have this money to cover your living expenses, so you don't get into that desperation energy, which just makes everything harder, for you to get clients, to get anything done, because you are in that state of mind. But in terms of your business, so as you're growing your business, so that's what's important. You're growing your business. As you get to a certain point, there's a technical term called the black hole. Mm-hmm. So the black hole is when you get to that phase where your business is growing so quickly that actually you start having this time and difference, which is like from the time where you're creating your program, making a sale and receiving the money, you are accruing your expenses. Expenses, they happen regardless of if you make any money or not. So if you are growing your business, you need to have this working capital sitting on your business bank account for at least 2 to 3 months to cover your business expenses and to cover this time and distance. And you always have this money there. But once you accumulate that money and you have that sitting there, it gets replaced. So it's not something you're going to be doing forever. But you get that money there, and then it gets replaced as you make more money and you have more money. But you need to be checking in, in terms of what are your business expenses now, this year. It doesn't mean the next year is going to have the same. As your business expands and your expenses expand, you need to always be checking in if you have that buffer on your bank account, because that's exactly what causes the cash flow roller coaster, which is you're staying up at night wondering how you're going to pay the bills this week, and if the certain clients are going to pay their invoices on time, and then getting you into this state as well. So very important. On the personal life level, though, I was thinking, so sometimes, again, on the mindset side of things, having the 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved it's really great. But I think it's also one thing that people would use as an excuse never to challenge themselves and make the jump, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I want to be sure I understand you. You're saying that that may, say it one more time, having a living expenses may do what?
Yeah, so like if you I think it's a great advice to have 3 to 6 months living expenses before you make the jump to go on your business full time. But it's also the kind of thing that people would use as an excuse never to really make the jump and continue playing small. But again, it's just like a mindset thing that we could go on and on.
Right. That's definitely what I was going to say. Because I mean, my thing is, now we're talking about fear and removing blockages, right? And the thing is, whether living expenses were there or not, that fear was there because is there at that point. Now we're starting to talk about this illusion of comfort and security. And Jennifer, I could I could go for light years about the illusion of comfort and security. So no, absolutely. I'm the kind of person, I'm the entrepreneur. Oh, I'm gonna jump off the ledge and build my plane on the way down, build my parachute on the way down. That's just me. And you're right. A lot of people, won't, may or may not do that or maybe even prolong it. And that's fine. But you're right. I think that's why we absolutely have to have that duality, that balance in finance, whether it's personal or business. You have got to coach that mindset part, go for it. Because here's my thing. That money sitting in the bank somewhere, which is, again, we could take this. That money could be sitting in your savings account. I'm in the state of North Carolina. Savings accounts here don't accrue but 1.75% interest. That money is just sitting there making them money, right? It's not doing anything for you. So that's my point. I'm not saying it needs to sit there. I'm not saying you accumulate 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses just because. No, you do that to build some type of rational safety net, right? You never go all in on anything without having some type of cushion, right? And for me, that's just so that mental, how can I say it? Just so you don't lose your effing mind, because growing your business alone by itself is enough mental stress. Now you telling me you're going to do it and you trying to figure out how you're going to pay your light bill at the same time? No, you don't do that.
No.
That's hustling backwards. You don't do that. So my thing is, while you got some type of money coming in, some type of income, you split it, obviously paying your expenses. You pad your living expenses. You can tell it's been a minute since I had to coach on this stuff. So it's verbally not there, but it's habit. So, you're paying your bills. You got your account for that. Then you got your account for your living expenses. Then, of course, you're stashing away money to fund your business. I call it the freedom fund because I feel like I'm a slave in corporate America. So that's my freedom fund. When I get enough money to get a business off the ground, I'm gone. So I call it the freedom fund. You want your expenses to be split between those 3 places. So that way, when you do see the light of day, when you see an opportunity, maybe you want to invest in something, or maybe you want to take some of your money and get your business off the ground, you're able to put your hand on it, and you don't have that mental stress that, okay, man, I'm going to go all in over here on this business, but I ain't got no money to pay my bills. No, you should absolutely kind of have that safety net. But Morena, I see where you're coming from, how that can kind of, keep people in that safety zone. But the number one thing I've learned above all things when it comes to success, I wrote a blog post on it a minute ago, and it was titled "The 10 Distinctions Between the Wealthy and the Poor." And one of the things one of the number one things that wealthy people do that poor people do not do is they take risks. They take the calculated risk, but they take risks. You have to, right? And that's a mindset thing. And that's because their goal in life is freedom, is not security or comfort. And that's the number one goal with the middle class and poor people's. Was particularly the middle class. Let me leave it at that. The middle class people, mentally, we tend to only strive to be comfortable, right? If you don't believe me, just if you're around a group of friends and you guys maybe just chilling or something, just start to pay attention and listen. Then again, you may have already heard somebody say it. Man, I don't even want a lot of money. I just want to be comfortable. People say it all the time. They say it all the time, but comfort itself isn't, it's an illusion. I'll be honest with you. It is. I'll be honest with you. I'm 100% entrepreneur. And Jennifer, you know this. I ain't clocking in and then hustling on the side. Like, I live this and breathe this every day. But had it not been for me desiring, freedom itself, the freedom to choose when I come, when I go, the freedom to choose how much I charge for my services. Had it not been for that, I would be stuck in my comfort zone. Like, okay, well, I know I ain't making a lot of money, but I need to stay here because my 401k this, or I ain't making a lot of money, but no, it's uncertainty in everything. It's going to be uncertainty in your business. Every day of the week it is, right? But the thing is, you get to determine when you get paid and how much you get paid, period. And for me, that's I'm gonna go for that every day of the week over anything else. But that's just me. But I'm just saying to get it out there, how I got to this place, my journey, not anybody else's. I started out following Napoleon Hill's, again, suggested spending percentages. You know what I mean? It was a certain amount of money I paid for the roof over my head, and I made sure I didn't go over that. And anything else that kind of threatened that, I didn't pay for, because I didn't need it, because I just knew that somewhere down the line I was trying to look at a bigger picture. So
Morena, to her point, when it comes to planning for things like retirement, if you're an entrepreneur, are these things that you're putting in your projections, like retirement and medical expenses? And
so this is more to do with your financial planning. So it's not really my area of expertise. It's the kind of thing that you sit down with your personal financial planner, and they have a better advice in terms of how to do, how to do your pension and how to do. But what I help people to do is to have a business that actually makes a profit, as opposed to a business that you work, and you have nothing to show for. And it's kind of like and then with the profit, and then you then go and say, okay, so that's one of my streams of income. I may have other streams of income, and then that's how I'm going to plan for my retirement. That's how I'm going to invest, etc.
I guess that's something I never thought about. Like how we talked about how the analysis and the projections come into play in your pricing. Well, if you have in your pricing that I'm not just covering making money and a real profit, but also my future. Or if you're a work from home mom, or if you're a mom that even splits it and works part in corporate, part at home, these are things you're thinking about that I never thought about, pulling that all into your pricing and your projection.
Absolutely. I will, to your point, Jennifer, I will say this, because a lot of times we don't think to do those things, or a lot of times people start to think, well, I'll start to put money up when I have a whole lot of it coming in. And I've been there, but one of the things I learned, what always helps me, you save or put up whatever you want to do with it. 10% of every single dollar that comes your way, 10%. If you find it on the street, and I know I'm being a bit obnoxious or whatever, but my point is, if you find some money on the street, don't even spend all of it, right? You put up 10% of that. When somebody pay you, you put up 10%, but my point is, your job, when I say somebody pay you, I mean your client. But my point is, you want to make it a habit to keep 10% of at least 10% of everything you make. My reasoning came from the fact that I look at it like this. When I was working in corporate America, we get paid, and there's two types of taxes we pay: voluntary taxes and involuntary taxes, right? Involuntary taxes, you have no control over. That's Uncle Sam taking your hard-earned money before you even get it. He gonna take your money before you even see your check and spend it. That's involuntary. Nothing you can do about that. Well, hardly anything you can do about it. Then you got voluntary taxes. So you're telling me I'm being taxed Y'all know I'm a deer in headlights. Something done popped up over here.
Oh,
Okay.
shit, shiny.
So yeah, and it is shiny and green. So so now the voluntary taxes is when you go out here and you spend your money on miscellaneous things you absolutely didn't already need. You already didn't have to have it, right? And again, for whatever reason, you're spending it. But back to my point. So I'm working hard for a system that's going to take most of my money. And I think depending on obviously how much you make, it all evens out though. I think you work about 3 months to a little over 3 months after the whole year just for Uncle Sam, because they take about that much in taxes. Right. So you work 3 months for Uncle Sam, then he's going to take, again, he's taking that money for you get it. Then I'm going to go out here and I'm going to spend it on some crazy stuff I don't have to have. Right. You talking about double taxation, right? So, and again, that could be on a tangent, but that's what got me thinking, okay, if my money is being taken that way, why not keep some for myself? You know what I mean? Why not? Why not pay myself at least the amount of money Uncle Sam is taking at a very minimum? So, and that's when I got to a point of me saving at least 50% of my income, because I'm like, hell, he taking 32% Let me keep 50. That makes sense. Right? No, I'm serious. So then at some point what you're saving or it'll be enough to where you can then take that money, flip it and do something with it. Right. So me personally, I just think the most dangerous thing you could do right now in this world, considering this economy, is have one source of income. And that's a no-brainer to anybody. Right. That's a no-brainer to everybody on this call, right? Because we're living it. We're feeling the pinch every day. It is getting extremely hard to live off of one source of income. Provided you don't know how to budget your money. Because again, I managed to save 50% on $25,000, right? Amazing. But you got some people make 50, 60,000 and spend every bit of it, like Morena was saying, and don't know where it's going. So again, but to me personally, I just still think that's the most dangerous thing you could do, is have one source of income and it be provided by a job. Obviously, due to the tax ramifications, for one, the taxes on as an employee are terrible. Well, I mean, and we know it because we just established that you work about 3 months out the year and pay taxes, right? Go ahead.
Just like changing a little bit, like that's what I found it beautiful about coaching, because it's like you selling yourself, like it's like you're learning when you become, yes, you learn the skill of coaching, but you also learn the skill of how to market yourself. And I think when you figure out how to do that, it's really cool because you become your own provider, and you become the person who brings it for yourself, as opposed to depending on someone wanting to pay you, so like an employer. And I think that's the magical thing about it, and it's really cool.
It is. It's empowering, right? And I hear a lot of times I hear people say, well, running your own business and entrepreneurship, isn't for everybody. And I don't know. I'm very rarely on the fence about anything, but that one, I'm either going to say, oh, hell no, that ain't true, or I'm on the fence about that, because to me, it just seems like it's either, fear that's going to keep you from thinking you can do it, or maybe just, maybe not having that belief in yourself. You know what I mean? Because my thing is, if you had the opportunity and the tools, you take it. So how can you tell me, how can you say it's not for everybody? So, and my thing is, we're all giving something away, a skill, some knowledge or something. We all giving something away for free every single day. Some advice, something. And you mean to tell me you struggling to pay your bills and you giving away good information? I don't understand.
Yeah, and if someone's employing you, it's because you have a skill, right?
That's
if
true.
You have a job, it's because you have something to offer.
That is right. That's true. If somebody's employing you, you have a marketable skill. That is true. That is true. Absolutely the truth. So that's exactly where I am now. In that mental space, but it's been quite a journey. Of course. And I don't know if it's a Sagittarius in me because, we're like the wanderers of the universe. I don't know. But I have it's this pull that I have to just see what's on the other side. I'm going to always go for it, right? I'm not caution to the wind, I guess. Who cares?
And I think that's a huge part of what draws all of us here. I think anyone that decides to even look at a path of entrepreneurship has made the decision that they want to see at least a piece of that other side. Even if they run back scared, like, no. They at least
right. But the beauty is you can just turn around and run back again, right? You don't have to stay. So yeah, just go as far as your, I guess, your perception and your fear will let you go. And then once you taste it,
it's over with.
once you get so far, oh my God. Because seriously, I'm not even lying. So when I started my digital marketing company, here's what's crazy. I had right when I got fired, of course, I did what anybody would do. And it took me the longest to do it because, I lived off my savings forever, down to my guys, transparent moment, my last, well, Jennifer knows, my last 91 cent in my bank account. I said, I'm not getting ready to use my time and my energy and to apply for jobs. Because I'll be honest with you, energy and time, you know what I mean? Those are your most valuable resources. And it depends on what direction you use those that's going to yield you certain results, right? So I said, okay, I could either use up all my energy and time, sprucing up my resume, applying the jobs and hoping out of competing with everybody and hoping I get a job, or I can take every single thing that I know up until this point and figure out a way to package it and help other people utilize and leverage what I know. And they got down to my last 91 cent in my bank account. I blew through I'm not lying. I blew through a little over $10,000 because I had been out of work that long. But it's just something say, just go for it, go for broke. And I looked up. Beautiful. And the clients were just trickling in. But see, Morena, that was that 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what it was. Because I just said, I just knew. But anyway, then my clients just started trickling in. And then at some point, it got to where they were paying all my expenses. Now I'm making a little bit of a profit. But I just try to still hold on to those principles, right? Keep 10% of every dollar I own. You know what I mean? And just go for it. And it's going.
That's what keeps you going.
I like to say
that's what keeps you going.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But I completely forgot. But what I was trying to say was, so I applied to this job and for a marketing position, ironically enough, and I didn't feel right about it. But then fast forward a couple of days later, the guy called back and was like, "Hey, are you still interested in this position?" And to me, it was just kind of awkward because I'm like, okay, to go work for you now, making peanuts for what I coach other people to do, period. And I was like, no, not really. Then, and here's when it got real for me. He said, name your price.
Wow.
Oh.
He said, name your price. Okay, I sure will. I'll name it. Yeah, I sure will. And I was like, and it was so empowering for me, so empowering. And I said, Jack, I don't know how to go back. So
she said, I don't know how to go back. That's huge. That's huge.
That's really cool. Really cool. And I think that's what knowing, your finances, knowing where your money is going, also really helps, really helps you to empower yourself. And especially for us women, we need to be able to a lot of women, even though women who are independent and who have their own businesses, for some things, they sometimes leave, to their partners, to look after this side of things for them. And no, they need to take responsibility. They need to, to take control. And it's very empowering and it's very powerful. Not because it's crashed or because of anything, but because you need to make your own destiny.
Right. Well, ladies, we have reached our hour. I know you see my family milling around in the background. So we are going to close. If anyone wants to get in touch with Morena, she is in the March for Success group, as well as Quandra and myself. As you can see, there's a wealth of information for you to tap into, as well as systems and programs to help make your businesses and ventures a complete success. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this, and we will see you all later.
See you later.
Goodbye.
Lovely to speak to you guys. Bye-bye.